There are two ways to determine how many and what samples to take when auditing. We can either use a statistical approach or a non-statistical approach. When looking at a population to audit, the auditor needs to decide which items will be part of their sample and how many. To do this, they have two options. They can either use maths, probability, and calculations, which is known as statistical sampling, or they can use their professional judgment, which is non-statistical. If they choose to use their professional judgment, they rely on their experience and expertise to decide which items to select and how large the sample should be. If they are auditing an organization's laptop encryption, they might use their expertise to identify the laptops which contain the most sensitive data and check those ones. The main benefit of this approach is flexibility. It allows the auditor to target areas of greatest concern based on their experience and judgment. But because the items are selected using judgment rather than statistics, the results cannot be objectively projected onto the entire population. If our sample shows 80% compliance, the auditor can't say that the entire population is 80% because they handpick that sample. That is where statistical sampling comes in. Instead of using their judgment and feelings to pick a sample, the auditor will use maths and statistics to select it. For example, when selecting laptops for review, the auditor might decide that every laptop in the population has an equal chance of being selected, and then select them at random. This means the auditor can mathematically project the results onto the entire population and make statements such as, "We are 95% confident that at least 80% of the laptops have encryption enabled." They were able to do this using statistical sampling techniques such as confidence coefficient levels, precision, expected error, and tolerable error rates, which we will cover in the next videos. At the moment, I want you to make sure that you understand that non-statistical sampling uses the auditor's judgment and feelings to pick the samples and sample size, which means the results can't be projected onto the entire population, while statistical sampling uses maths and statistics to determine the sample, which allows us to make objective statements about the results and project them onto the entire population. In the next video, we will look at how auditors use statistical sampling to make these objective statements.